Okay, cool. So I'm Brianna Wonderland, and we're here for the Divine Feminine Portals of Kemet. Wow, it's such a big topic. Oh my goodness. And of course, we'll only get to just a smidgen of it. And also, I just wanted to introduce myself and why this is coming up for me now and why I'm doing this. And yeah, let's just all drop in together. I really love leading things where we drop in first into our heart space and into our listening space with the ears of the heart instead of ears of the mind. So, if you feel comfortable, you can allow your eyes to close if that feels good to you. And just start to arrive here. Just let yourself arrive really fully here, letting everything else that was in the past or might happen in the future just be in the past and in the future, coming fully present right now, right here. I'm going to just invite you to start to breathe in and out through your heart. And as you do this, you might notice emotions or sensations. And just be with those, let them be exactly as they are as you breathe in and out through the heart. And I invite you to see if you can go a few layers deeper, as if the heart had layers. And you could go into a deeper cave in the heart. And find a comfy seat for yourself in this deep heart place. Maybe light a little fire in there, or light a candle, or maybe there's already a fire lit within there. And every time you breathe in, allow it to feed that fire. And every time you exhale, allow yourself to relax even deeper into this seat in your heart. And as you inhale again and exhale, feel your heart energy filling your whole body. And allow that to even expand all the way around you. So you're in the field of your own heart. And invite whatever is God, Goddess, Divine, whatever that means for you, invite that to join your heart field. It already is, but we're just amplifying it more. Filling the space all around you. with the divine heart of love, your heart of love and divine heart of love merging in this space all around you. And inviting this energy, this heart field energy, to touch the heart field energies of everyone here. You, of course, maintain your own space, but we're just making one large bubble of heart field. Good. And remembering the earth, remembering to ground and root this heart space. So, however you feel to do that, just remembering the earth as we're here, kind of on the inner webs and the interwebs, and grounding it really into this beautiful Mother Earth wherever you are in the world. Nice. Good. And then whenever you feel ready, you can allow your eyes to open, aiming to keep remembering this heart field throughout this talk, throughout this time of listening and being. And allowing whatever touches you to touch you, and whatever doesn't resonate to just move past you, and maybe pick up another day if it comes to visit. And as in the northern hemisphere, we're coming towards this time of fall and going towards winter, which is the time of stories. It's the time of sitting around in the dark nights and lighting fires and telling stories with each other. And so I want to invite you on a little storytelling venture today with me. And part of it, much of it is my own story. And of course, our own stories are big, actually. They're big and small. Because they connect so many mythic levels, and really we're here as well to bring in those forces of Kemet, those divine. Someone is saying the volume is faint. Let me bring this a little closer. We're bringing in those divine feminine portals of Kemet, and you might hear that talked about as the Neteru, which is the name for what we might call natural forces or deities or archetypes, you might call them if you're more psychologically inclined. And I like all of those. I'm going to pause really quick just to make sure this volume stays good. All right, thanks for your patience with that. So the divine feminine portals of Kemet. And amazingly, I got introduced to all this when I was 22 years old. And I happened to run into a guy. It always starts that way, right? And it is a love story. We did fall in love, and it was beautiful and intense and dramatic. And at the same time, his family had been introduced to a woman who had been tasked with this amazing, beautiful, big task of bringing together pieces of a goddess lineage of ancient Egypt. And it was very mysterious and magical, and I happened to follow my way there, met people that were a part of this group, and followed my way there and met her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you totally have this resonance, and this is about like soul pieces reconnecting with each other." And it's so beautiful because it really, for me, goes back to this overarching story that we will visit a few times in this talk of the story of Isis or Aset in the Egyptian tradition. And Aset, I will just briefly give you a little overview. In her story, she brings back pieces, many pieces together um, to create life again. And so bringing these pieces of the goddess back together, which we're all doing in a way, we're all bringing back pieces of these different traditions, of these spiritual ways of opening up divine portals for the earth and opening up these connection points in our own bodies and in the physical, actual earth. So, right now, a lot of people have been visiting Egypt because it is a connection point that has actual temples that have been there for thousands of years now, still standing at these connection points. And so, it is, in a way, a technology that brings in energy and that brings in and opens this field of divine forces. And one way that, in my reference of how I like to understand this, is I don't know if anybody's been to India or places like this, but in India, I lived in India for a year and a half. In India, the layers of consciousness or the layers of reality and the opening to these forces, because they're practiced with continually, so the god forces like Ganesha or Krishna or Lakshmi, they are very present, actually very close to consciousness, because humans are continually like drawing them into their own practice, into their own lives through mantra, through lots of pujas, ceremonies, rituals, and the layers of reality are quite close together. So the opening to experience direct connection with these different forces is easier. So coming back to this whole story of opening this portal in myself, in my own heart, in my own soul, which this is really why we're here, and this is what I want to create for others. This is what I am creating for others, is experiences to get into your own soul knowledge, especially if you have a soul component that ties to Egypt or ties to Kemet. Because I have that activated in me. And because I have that activated in me, it creates kind of a resonance field. And then that can activate with your resonance field. And then we create a bigger resonance field, which then activates more people. This is kind of the point of all this consciousness stuff on the planet. Why do we meditate so much? Why do we go into our hearts? Why do we ground this energy of divine? It's because we then become the bridges of heaven on earth. We become those bridges of consciousness where we like awaken the earth, and there needs to be a lot of awakening on the planet right now. And the divine feminine portals, they hold keys for not just the divine feminine, also for the divine masculine, because they work in union together. And my focus is on the divine feminine because I'm in a feminine body and I have practiced channeling and being in relationship with those forces. And as well, they all come together, right? They all create this harmonious whole. And I'm going to reference a little bit of a channeling that I did last night with Isis and her kind of talk about unity with me. I sat down to prepare for this, and then just this channeling just came out with Isis. And when I mean by channeling, it's really interesting because it is a very Egyptian practice to embody these different energies. So Isis has a very divine mother energy. When I visited her temple in Egypt, I felt the frequency of Mother Mary. I was like, oh, this is where Mother Mary came from. Like I kind of have heard that in different channelings and everything, but it was so divine mother that just loves you so much that you just want to cry in her arms because she's just holding you so beautifully and with so much love. That was my experience of her. And people will have differing experiences, right? Depending on how it connects to their soul and who they are. But that was how it really landed and connected with me. And I have been holding her frequency since I connected with this woman that activated my soul lineage within me. And even in my early studies in my graduate program, I would often practice holding the energy of Isis while people were going through different moments of psychological process, which was really fun and beautiful. So I feel like I just feel this natural embodiment of her in me. And so she's one goddess we will visit with this divine feminine portals of Kemet. And I want to reference this is an opening to a larger experience if you're interested, and if this is like piquing your curiosity and you're like, wow, this is so beautiful. I will be offering me and Chelsea Cutrell, who is not here today, but she will be here another day, who is a sound healer. We will together be offering a Divine Feminine Portals of Kemet over 4 months, where we dive in even deeper into relationship with Isis or Aset, with Hathor, with Sekhmet, who is another beautiful, fierce Egyptian deity that we will be getting to know better, and also with Mut and Anuket, who are more cosmic primordial forces, a little bit more in the formless, definitely more in the formless realm. And so journeying with these different forces, like I have been journeying with since I was 22 years old in different ways, just learning my way slowly, and also being in different situations of learning my way slowly through ceremony with this beautiful group, through pilgrimage to the goddess, through just openings in your life, right? I mean, so much of this, I don't feel the spiritual is different from the physical. Our consciousness as humans has separated them, but when you start to bring them back into unity together, your life flows in this like amazing way, which is one huge opening to open to these portals, is to open them in yourself and to open that relationship as you get again become that heaven on earth bridge. You bring those consciousnesses to earth through your own body. And this channeling that I did yesterday with Isis or Aset, and I talk about it as a channeling. I just want to reframe that word again. I didn't quite reframe it earlier and I meant to, but it's like, to me, I've been experiencing it as like a heart stream. Like all of our hearts have different streams of consciousness. And we have different like rays in the universe. They're sometimes talked about like the sun's rays, and there's different rays of creation, different streams of energy that are creating this amazing body, this amazing experience, right? And so these different Neteru are forces of creation, and they have different, in my experience, kind of consciousness streams that you can enter into, and they can move through your own body. And you can, I've also practiced a lot of not getting completely swept away in these big energies, but keeping my own channel and my own body and my awareness of that as I allow this force of creation to move through me at the same time. So that's another beautiful, sweet gift that is embodied here and that you will feel in resonance. And hopefully, and I can also share more about that for people who have that gift of channeling and how to stay in your own container as you channel as well. And in my experience working with the Neteru of Egypt, they're not, I have yet to experience them like um, in a way that that form of channeling that's really trance, where you go into the entire experience of being that deity. For me, it's been more of always a collaboration, which you are the portal as well. Part of this is just extending consciousness into your own body so that you become the portal of divine. Those, you are a portal to divine, you are a heart stream of divine, just as these other streams that we're talking about of the Neteru of these forces are as well. And you could, extend that to other traditions as well, to Tibetan traditions, or, if you want to think about it like that, streams of consciousness that we're entering into. And so last night when I sat to write down, I started writing, and I was already in a little bit of a trancey space, and I just let myself start writing. And a couple sentences in, I noticed, oh, I'm channeling Isis, uh, which is, I'm in the heart stream of Isis partially. And because she referenced her sister, and her energy and my energy have become so close over the years, sometimes it's like, interesting that, because there's a lot of similarities in the feeling for me. Yeah, let me share just a little bit of this that I wanted to share. Okay. So she really referenced how can what is the message for today is about focusing on body connection, and also not just for today, but this portals of Kemet that I will be offering with Chelsea is a opening these portals, but opening them in your own body as well. They're not like separate from you. And these different energies, they have different gifts that help you open places. So Hathor, or Heteru, she is a Egyptian goddess. She's often kind of seen with a cow head, and she has a lot to do with birth and fertility, and she's very joyous, often ecstasy. Her temple had a lot of celebration in it, a lot of celebration of life, a lot of dance, a lot of music. She's often seen with a sacred sistrum, which she plays. And when I was in her temple in Egypt, I had a beautiful, beautiful healing experience because her temple is just so phenomenal and beautiful. And um, there is this amazing kind of portal space that is a little, you have to climb up these stairs, and then there's a hole, and you have to climb through this hole, and then you're in a hallway that is like this sacred hallway with all the gods on either side of the hallway, like on the reliefs on the walls, all divine feminine portals on the reliefs of the walls. And then Hathor is straight at the end of the hallway, and this hallway is not very long. I mean, not very wide. It's, one person basically can walk through it. And then when you get to the end, her face is there, and it is, in my experience, what I experienced there was a portal to a whole other realm. Because I walked down the hallway in this, sacred, reverent way, and we made offerings in that place. And when I got to the end of the hallway, I touched her face and just tuned in and let myself, and I basically fell through a doorway in my consciousness. I fell through this doorway into a whole other realm. And I was in this realm of frequency, of energy as musical notes, and energy as you could play basically consciousness, and you could play the energy as musical notes, because you can think of us all in this whole harmonic universe, and that every frequency is a note that's being played through us, and we're all playing notes at the same time. I'm playing notes with the way my voice is projecting towards you and you're receiving it, right? There are different notes of consciousness in my voice that's being played through my body because of the different energies that I have access to in my soul and in my body and in my experience and in my connection. And so when I fell through that, I was in her realm with her and other beings that were part of this realm of Hathor. And they were looking at my energy space as, and my auric space as, strings of energy. And they gave me a whole like harmonic tune up. They basically strummed the strings in my energy field in different ways. And it put me into a whole other state of like joy and just complete beingness and ecstasy, a part of ecstasy. And I was just so uplifted and unified, and I stayed there with her for a little while. And then eventually, when it was completed, when this transmission of healing was completed, I just opened my eyes and, gave my thanks and then left that place. And it was so beautiful because as I was leaving that place, I was just in so much joy, and I was then just glowing with this transmission that I had received. And the guide that was with us asked me, like, what happened? You're glowing now. Like, what went on in there? Like, I would like some of that. Like, how did you do that? And it's very interesting because in Egypt now, right, it's a Muslim country, and so they have to be very in tune with that, with being Muslim. Basically, they're mostly Muslim, and so they don't interact with the gods in this way because they're it's not it's not like that anymore. But part of them, a lot of them know, like I've met people there who I was like, oh, you were a priest of this place and now you're still here incarnating, taking care of this place. And so I started to talk to him about Hathor and my relationship with Hathor, and had I've had that relationship for many years, and I went into a place of meditation and I was able to access that, and I just encouraged him to, potentially have an image of Hathor, or just to start to relate to her as a being, just to start to make relationship. And so that's part of this as well, that we just sit down, and part of Hathor as well as this welcome, we just sit down and welcome that energy to be present with us, just like we welcome any energy to be present with us. And often we don't know that we're doing it. We're either welcoming or being like, no, don't. But she really teaches us how to welcome energy in as well, and be in kind of this ecstatic joy place. Like, I imagine her at a home that you would go visit, and she'd just open the door and be like, wow, you're here, this is amazing. And just completely welcome you in, and like just take care of you. And I imagine she might be having a party later just to celebrate life, and you'd have this phenomenal party, and you'd be like, wow, I'm just like in the ecstasy of being alive. This is just insanely amazing. And so this way of being in relationship with the world, which is in other traditions as well, but it is part of that ancient Egyptian tradition of being in this living relationship with life and with these energies that feed life, right? So celebrating life, gratitude, we're often told, have gratitude. Well, what is gratitude? It's like a celebration of life. Right? And she holds beautiful codes for that celebration of life, also for welcoming energies. And we will do a little bit of womb work for her if you're a lady. Um, you can also access that energy of the womb even if you're a man too. Of course, you've had it. You lived in a womb for 9 months, so you know it. Um, in this experience, right? And so we will work with her in that way, in this portal, and who knows, might weave in some frequency in all this too. And so how I work with all of these things is listening. So what is it that's, calling to be unfolded, and calling for the experience, to the opportunity for that experience, and how can I meet that? How can I provide whatever skills I have to make a container for that? Mm. And so Isis says in my heart's dream connection with her last night, she says, focus on the body connection, because I'm going to say we said in a way because it's coming through my body. Because without this body connection, there is no place for the spirit to roost, which was interesting. I had this image of a bird or something, and you often see in Egyptian cosmology that the ba, or part of the soul, is a bird, and it can, right, fly, when the body passes away, spirit leaves. So, and Isis is also seen often as a kite. um, Different deities have bird forms, right? And so for me, this is kind of like the spirit landing. It's like a form of what the spirit does. It flies, right? And it flies in your dream time, all of these things. So focusing on the connection with the body gives a place for the spirit to roost, gives a place for the spirit to land. So when this body connection is fused back into its original nature of wholeness, then the spirit can fully find its place in the body. No real and potent magic can happen if this is not the foundation. So this is like a huge statement that she's saying right here, and a huge, really cool aha moment for me, because I was like, wow, this is what I do with my life a lot. This is helping people make connection and wholeness in their body so that the spirit can come into consciousness with your whole body. And there's ways we don't even notice our body is disconnected, and there are things we hold in the body, past experiences, past energies that don't need to be there anymore, and that we're often cleaning out. And that's what purification, that's often what ceremony does, is it helps in different meditations, different energy work techniques. They help clear a lot of this so you can have spaciousness in the body for your spirit, for your own spirit, to fill up your body completely. Yeah. Because then you become the vessel, which is the point in my view. um, it's also really interesting if any of you know who the mother is of Pondicherry, which is where the first place that I visited in India, which is from Oroville, Pondicherry. In Oroville, she created this place called Oroville. Anyways, the whole end of her life was about this. Kind of studied her and worked with that energy as well. And it's like all bringing this divine energy into the body to create consciousness and really filling up each place so that the spirit is the connection of each place, of every cell, of every atom, of every movement of your blood, every, beat of your heart, every breath, right? Mm. It's really good. And there's this ecstatic, and ecstasy comes from that. Pain can come from that too. I mean, different forces have different, and when it hits places in the body of resistance, pain often arises. Um, and so moving with that resistance is often, holding it in consciousness, holding it, being like, ah, I see you, you're there, and allowing that spacious, beautiful holding, which I think Isis is beautiful medicine for, to encase, and then allow it to whatever it needs, whatever it needed before to be met, or be like, oh, I've completed that, I can actually just let this go completely, which is the work I do in my personal sessions when I do clairvoyant readings, which is why I often call it sacred embodiment, because it's all about making more space in the body for us to fill up with consciousness. Yeah. So if at any moment anyone here has questions or you have comments, you can pop them into the chat. Usually I take a lot of space for like interaction because I love that. But we'll do a little bit at the end. Just listening for a moment, taking that sacred pause, and you can all take that sacred pause as well, just to listen for the moment into your own body, into what's hitting you, what you're enjoying or, resonating with. Again, tapping into that heart field for a moment. And the different streams of energy we're invoking by listening and being open to this. Awesome. So one of the deities that I've yet to tap into, that we're going to tap into with the heart, is Sekhmet. And she is a fire deity, and she's very close to my own heart. I view her as a very strong protectress of the divine feminine and of the feminine, divine feminine, let's say, rising again on the planet, because she's been very chatty apparently to a lot of different priestesses, and a lot of different people are feeling very compelled by her. And I feel very compelled by her. Someone who's in this today here live with us, and also Chelsea. We were in a Sekhmet group for a couple years. We're still in a Sekhmet group, and we have been meditating with Sekhmet and really being in divine relationship with her in an intimate way, which I have been as well for many years before that too, which is incredible. um, and having this beautiful dedicated group is so important, right? Because we talk about that often in the Buddhist tradition. It's referenced, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Like the Sangha is a necessary component. So Sangha meaning group of people who come together to practice with each other, who come together to support each other on our divine journey and in this resonant way, which are experiences that I open and hold for people as well, and that this divine feminine portals of Kemet we will gather together to support each other in this journey of opening these different places in our body and opening this place of the heart as well and anchoring there consistently. And so she brings a lot of fiery wisdom, a lot of fiery knowledge, and strength and courage, really, to also live out your Dharma, and also healing. She was often considered a healer in ancient Egypt because um, you need a lot of courage oftentimes to meet like disease or to meet those health challenges that arise in the body that are also multi-layered spiritual challenges too. So you need that kind of warrioress energy on your side. And for me, she was used in battle in ancient Egypt, but for me, I don't have that relationship to her. It's more like she's very much a truth force. So she creates truth, the ability for you to dispel illusions and sit in your own truth and sit in the truth sit in universal truths as well. And with that, then healing and awareness can arise, and then courage can arise too, because when you're sitting in truth, there is no fear. Fear is slayed by truth. Fear is also slayed by love. So we can go at it both those angles. And we need both of them. One of my teachers, he would say, you have to, whether there are two types of beings who are more on a truth path and those who are more on a love path, and those that have kind of this uh, energy either of truth or love, but both truth and love complete within each other. They have to complete, you have to go to the other one to complete the journey. So if you're kind of more inclined to truth and cutting through people's illusions and slaying and all this stuff, which often leads to depression in this world because there's so much untruth and it can just like weigh you down, the truth. It also has to have the energy of love to be balanced and to find balance in yourself and within the world. So Sekhmet has opened this whole other opportunity that's arising as well. I'm talking about Divine Feminine Portals of Egypt in this 4-month journey. But the other amazing, super exciting portal that's opening is a trip to Egypt called Mother Egypt. And it will be next year over the March equinox. And we've been sitting in guidance with her and in guidance with the Neteru to facilitate this trip and to bring it in a very beautiful and as much integrity and in relationship with these divine beings as possible. And people are invited, to come on any level, because Egypt, it's such a place of opening different soul portals for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a homecoming like it was for me when I visited Egypt. It's like, oh my God, soul home. So many tears, so much resonance, so many, different timelines basically coming together and meeting me in the present moment, where I could kind of update from all these past priestess lives that I've lived in Egypt to now this modern time. And like, wow, I've been experiencing all these in my body. And then to come to the present moment together and have that meet and that kind of get grounded in a whole new way in this body is really incredible. Now that's part of my experience. Um, part of the magic of Egypt is that it's holds a soul civilization that lasted for thousands of years and had a lot of technology that we can't even replicate today. And they had so much knowledge that is still being uncovered. And so when you go to these places, you start to enter into the field of that resonance, and then you can uncover truths, right? In those stories that can lead you in your life and can open up different parts of your soul resonance that need to be opened and given the food to flower, given the nutrients they need to flower. And we often just don't find that in our modern world because people are not soul centered, and the whole way the culture is not soul centered. In some ways, it's against the soul. So, going on trips like this, they help you bloom in a different way. And if you're looking for that blooming in this Mother Egypt, of course, since I love the mother, and for me, there's a primordial mother of Egypt, and her name is Mut. And we will be practicing with her as well. And so she opens up this doorway um, to contact the essence of the origin of everything. And I wrote in my email, which some people were probably curious and came to this talk about the fountain of eternity. And this is part of her sacred place and part of the magic of relating to her is, and we all have this again, I'm going to say we all are the portals. It's just opening those different access points. And when you find it mirrored in the physical world, you can often then easier access it in your own body because there's that doorway that you're interacting with. And then you're like, oh, I have this doorway here too. Here's the mirror, which you see amazingly in many Egyptian temples. They have a mirror effect where they'll have like hieroglyphics on one side of a wall, and on the other side of the wall, it's mirroring itself, or like mirroring from one wall to the other wall. There's a mirroring, which is crazy and interesting because they're really talking about consciousness. The whole everything is built on how to be in the magic and these different magical layers of consciousness that we have lost in this modern day and age. So we walk back in time when you go there, but in the present time as well. And to me, that is that heart of the Ankh is coming into present time and having access to eternal time at the same time. So you have access to past, present, and future, and also eternity. And you create, you become the chalice, you become the Ankh, you become eternal life, reincarnating itself in spirit that's always creating itself endlessly in these creations. Ah, so Mother Egypt is very much gateways into all these beautiful possibilities, and the way has just been made so clear. I've had synchronicity after opening doorways for this trip to happen. Um, the first place we're staying on is Isis Island, is the island of the original temple of Isis, which got moved from its original island to another island because the Nile flooded. Or the Nile, they put a dam, the Aswan Dam, they put the Aswan Dam in, Nile came up, they had to move this whole temple. I think it was like in the 70s. So it's kind of crazy. But that original island, there's only two places to stay on there. One place you can actually find online, the other place is a secret so far. And that place is the place we're staying, which is like really incredible and interesting. And it was built more in a temple place, more as a temple, more as a sacred place for Isis. And the person that holds that space is also dedicated to Isis and Osiris. And so uncovering and walking into that sacred devotional space, we'll start our journey off in that way. And we're already starting it now. You're like a little bit on the journey with me. So it's so incredible. And then we will go to the actual Isis temple, which is across the way. You take like a little water taxi, which is super fun, really fun. And you will be on the Nile, which is this sacred, amazing river. And so everything in Egypt in ancient times and still has that resonance today is mirroring heaven, the heavenly realms, you could say, which happens in many traditions. If you are know that much about those traditions, they're recreating forms of heaven on earth in the physical. So often indigenous traditions will say, like, this is the center of the universe, and here's all the different parts of the universe in my little like village area. Like, here's my temple to this part of the universe, and here's the temple to this part of the universe. Well, Egypt, of course, holds that same model. And the Nile herself is a flow from the primordial waters and from of Anuket, who is the goddess of like primordial flow. And so her energy comes like through the Milky Way, through the universe from the primordial, and flows into this beautiful sacred river, which is the Nile. And when you're in Egypt, that whole phrase, water is life, takes on a whole new meaning, because you're like, there is no doubting that water is life. Because there's hardly any rain there, and the only thing that's given everything life is the Nile. The only places that are green are along the Nile. That's it. The rest is desert. So you know water is life. There is no question in your mind. Whereas places that get a lot of rain, like I live somewhere normally that does get a lot of rain in the winter, and people somehow have in their mind, they haven't connected, that water is the reason why you're alive and that your body is mostly water. So, yeah, it's incredible. And that hits home in a whole new way, right? And we will be sailing on her beautiful waters in a beautiful, incredible boat that has sacred space held on it as well, that is in devotion to the Nun goddess, who is the primordial water goddess as well, kind of more like the primordial ocean versus primordial flow. And at least in my experience. And we will be on this incredible journey together with a group of people who are also exploring this for themselves and dedicated to opening the heart space and being in this, exploring this sacred relationship with the different forces on earth and with the mother, right? And so we will have meditations and we will have openings with these different temple places and with the nature, with everyone's experience and whatever that is, and holding space for each other and being a community together for these 9 days of time, being a community together where we're supporting each other's unfolding and probably also triggering each other's unfolding, which is pretty much inevitable. So part of that is just being responsible and being like, oh, okay, this person is showing me some mirror that is not, I don't like, and now I need to look at it, and that would be the appropriate thing to do. Or you could be like, I don't want to look at it, so you should go away. And don't talk to me ever again. That's how drama happens. Okay. So now. So we'll take this sacred container time to practice being in responsibility with each other. And most likely lots of nice people will be there. So it'll be a nice way to be in responsibility with each other versus like it can be hard if people, are tough for us in our regular lives. And it's a good space to practice that. Um, and we will, yeah, journey into these amazing ancient places, many different temples. One of the big places we will end our boat ride in Luxor, where Karnak Temple is, and where Luxor Temple is. And there's a beautiful procession that was done between Karnak Temple and Luxor Temple. These temples are, I don't know, a couple of miles apart, I guess, maybe 2 miles or a mile and a half apart. And there's a walkway between them that you can actually walk from one temple to the other. And we will walk in a procession from the Holy of Holies of one temple. So the Holy of Holies is the place where they held the god, and where only like specific people who were in devotion to that could be. Now it's just completely open, so you can just walk in there. And there is an amazing book that talks about Luxor, the temple of man, and how the temple is actually the body of man stepping forward. Like the layout of the temple is supposed to be an entire human form, basically the map of a human form. And the Holy of Holies is what? The pituitary. So that's that place in your third eye, often called the third eye, right? that place where you can open vision, where you can connect with divine in the body in a certain way. And yeah, so we'll walk through this amazing. So it's really cool because, right, this connection to the body as being sacred, as being a holy vessel, is part of the dedication of this Temple of Man. And there's lots of secrets, held within there that people are still learning and decoding. And if you want to go on that whole journey of that, I can give you references for that, which is amazing. I just do it more in an intuitive way. And of course, I'm informed by that. And it works on me, and then I interpret it as we all do in our own way, in our own sacred way. So we will walk from the Holy of Holies of that temple to the Holy of Holies of Karnak, which is incredible, on the equinox itself. So the energies will be in this alignment of rebirth and this celebration of life. And I walked it, and from when I was there last time, and it was just so much joy coming out of my heart of like the rebirth of life, because a lot of these processions are this procession, this ancient procession that I'm referencing would happen, and the god from Karnak would go to Luxor and then be like reborn again and then come back. And so there was this whole thing about the world basically being created again, right? And so we reference and walk in that creation of the world being created again, and how much joy of the new day, of the new dawn of creation. Like a baptism ceremony on steroids. As you're recreating the whole earth, the whole cosmos. And that's really what a lot of these Egyptian ceremonies and mythologies were. We're recreating all the time creation, and we're honoring that creation. And then because of that, we are in flow and harmony with creation, because we're always honoring that that's what's arising every day. Every time the sun rises, you like wake up and you're like, wow, it's a new day. And you were bathed in the night by the primordial divine, because you were in the place of nothingness, and then you went through the dream realms, and you went through that journey of whatever's processing or potentially messages, these different astral planes, and then you come back to waking life again, and you're like, oh, here I am, like, wow, and something has changed. You actually have been recreated in a way. And the only reason why we keep creating this creation going is because we're kind of continually reminding ourselves and reinforcing that it's real. It gets so mind blowing. So we will go to Karnak, and in Karnak as well is a very holy place to Mut, who is the primordial mother, and we will do special things there and commune with that place, which is very beautiful. And then we will go to the sanctuary, the chapel of Sekhmet, which has supposedly which does have one of the only like living statues from ancient times. What is living meaning her essence and her energy is still emanating from this statue. It's still alive. Yes, very alive. And I've been in there a few times and gotten this transmission from her, which is really, really beautiful. So going into that transmission with her and feeling that frequency in whatever she has, which she really holds these codes of sovereignty, empowerment, courage, fiery heart, um, fiery, truthful wisdom. And there's just many layers of transmission that like I'm putting words to, but you won't, like when I was in front of her, it's also about the wordless. You don't need words. You just allow the energy to move through you. And that will open things inside of you and open things inside of your life that you could have never, that would not have been able to be opened before without that key. So that's part of the reason to make this journey. Like, you don't know, maybe you that like now I have the courage to facilitate this trip, which is a huge venture for me. And the only reason why I have this courage and certainty is because of Sekhmet. I mean, I have that mirror inside myself, right? So my resonance is meeting her resonance, but she's adding a lot of force to that opening in me. Yeah. So just honoring that opening and that courage. And you never know what it will open in your life. Like maybe you've wanted to quit your job for forever and then you quit your job, or maybe you've wanted to break up with that boyfriend and then that happens, or maybe you want to find a new love and then you have the courage to find love again. You don't know. There's just this amazing what these different places and what these different experiences open for you. And so there's a way that it's very priceless to have those experiences. Hmm. And we will then end with celebration at Hathor's temple in Dendera, the temple I talked about earlier, and having that experience with her. So this whole like celebration of our trip and celebration of love and life and whatever you receive from that as well. So opening to the bigness of that cosmic potentiality within all of our bodies. Mm. So if people are interested in that, reach out to me directly at Brianna at divinepresence.one, where it's also a website for it, which I will put in the chat, and I will be emailing it out to everybody, of course. And it's a very beautiful website that we spent lovely time on to create. So hopefully it's very engaging. And we want to make this possible. So talk to me about it if you're like, I need to come on this, or I feel this resonance, or even sometimes the most amazing opportunities, we feel like some pull that we don't really know. It's mysterious. So often opening into that mysterious realm creates, yeah, magic that we did not know was possible and that our soul is calling us towards. That's why you feel that magnetism. But it's sometimes quiet. Sometimes that voice is quiet. Mm. And then I will announce this as well. We'll be having this experience together from November to November, December, January, February of Divine Feminine Portals of Kemet. And that will be a group, a Telegram group on your phone where we will have like transmissions about, you know, these different deities and entering into a relationship in a beautiful way, and with our bodies as well, opening those different portals like I talked about, of the womb, also the throat too, the heart space, the throat space, the primordial wisdom space, which will open in December because we have that cosmic alignment with the galactic center in December, which has a lot of energy that's like primordial energy flowing. It's also around my birthday. And it will be really beautiful. And I'll release information about that in a follow-up email if you would like to join that. You'd be so welcome. And we'll have a super supportive, beautiful group of, and similar to the Egypt trip, like opening these portals in ourselves ripples out into our life in beautiful, beautiful ways that we would not have been potentially able to open so easily on our own. It often catalyzes and activates our energy in life, and we create a group field that, like I said, creates that amplification of your own field, just like we did with the heart field earlier in this, and it amplifies it for the world, which we need so badly. The world is so thirsty and hungry for that amplification of love and goodness and beauty. So I think we're going to end in a minute. I just want to say a little bit from this heart streaming with Isis last night. She says, start with the heart. The heart is goodness herself. Let the body soak in the goodness there. If there are other emotions there, know that those are only on the periphery and can easily be dissolved when you tune into the pure goodness of the heart. It is like a fresh breath of pure mountain air. It uplifts the whole being and refreshes you. It will clear the heart field as you breathe in this pure mountain air. So I just invite everyone here to again feel like you're breathing in the clearest air possible into your heart space. Maybe exhaling it out with a sound. Contacting your own heart field one more time, this inner heart space. You can close your eyes if that's helpful, just touching in as you breathe in and out of the heart. And asking your heart if any of the things, feminine portals of Kemet or the Mother Egypt trip, are resonating or calling you. And if so, just noticing that. Letting your heart field as well expand all throughout your body, all around you. Grounding ourselves once more. And just thanking your own heart for being here, thanking your body for being here, thanking your mind, thanking all the different teachers and all the different avenues that have just led you to this moment in time period. Not even about me or this talk, but just that you're alive right now. I'm just celebrating that. So thank you so much for being in celebration and honor with me. And if you got a yes in your heart to any of these journeys, please reach out to me and let me know. Let's chat. Sending you so much love.